Today I'm going to show you how to bypass the rollover switch on a 2006 Brute Force, some other ones I don't know, that nobody can seem to figure out. Alright, here, you saw I've been messing with it, figured it all out. Here, got my soldering iron mounted down so I can solder some wires. I got, here is the rollover switch. Here's the old rollover switch. I hacked it up trying to get out of the woods. I'm actually going to be using the pigtail if I can find it. Where did I put it? Come on, little switch, where you at? This one. I'm actually using the pigtail that I cut off this other switch, so I pretty much just cut it right here. Right there where my pinky is. Alright, so this switch I've had nothing but problems with. It's supposed to run like this, upside down, which is right side up. Alright, but this one won't run like that, it only runs like this. So I'm going to show you what voltages you should be getting out of a good switch. I already disassembled it and super glued the magnet in there the correct way so it won't mess up. Got a makeshift little phone holder here. I'm going to hook up so you can watch what I'm doing here. Let's see if it'll stop. Alright, you can see everything there. So, with the key on, this wire here, which is your ground, is 12 volt, it's ground, my bad, common ground. This yellow middle wire is a 5 volt reference. This brown wire is a 12 volt from the CDI. Alright, so with the system plugged up, the sensor itself reduces the signal wire internally to, it should be about 2.5 volts. So I'm gonna tell, I got this wire going from the meter to the ground, this one. So here, with it plugged up, we're getting 2 volts. Here's gonna be 0 because it's ground, that's millivolts, and then this should be 12 volts. Alright, so what I'm gonna do to bypass it is I cut that pigtail. I went and bought resistors, a bunch of them, but I only needed 1 pack to do this. The ones that work are the 680 ohm half watt resistors. Alright, I took one of those and I'm going to put it between the ground. Don't put it on this or you melt your wiring harness. You got to put it between the ground and the 5 volt reference. I'm going to solder it just like that. So you're going to watch or fast forward through this. This is me soldering the wires, so whatever you want to do. If I can find the solder. Put solder on there. Alright. I already got solder on this ground. I'm just going to solder this. Alright, see a good connection there? I don't know if you can see it, but I soldered the wire right there. So I'm going to slide this over. Alright, I need a lighter. That is in my truck. Hold on. There we go. See that? Heat shrink it. Keep from corrosion when you dunk your four-wheeler under the water. Alright, so now what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to now just solder these two like so. Right there like that. Just put these two together. Alright, before I solder them, let me show you. Key is on. We plug this up. Okay. Now remember with the old one, with it unplugged, I was getting 5 volts out of that middle wire. Well, I don't think I showed you it, but you remember when I plugged it up and checked, it was at 2.0 something. See, it's at 5 volts. So you want that middle wire to drop to, what did I say, 2 point something? So anything below 4 pretty much. So I got a 600 ohm resistor. I test this middle wire. It's going to test about 5 volts. Alright, see that? 5 volts. So you touch this wire to the ground. You don't want to just jump into the ground or it'll drop to 0 volts and you'll melt the wire harness. You touch them together, test it again. See? 2.0. Perfect. So now, and then when you take it off, straight to 5 volts again. So, you're going to solder these two together and go ahead and do that for you. Stick. Alright. A little bit more on there. Make sure I get connection. Alright, see I got the solder on there. Got the solder on there. I'm going to put a little bit of solder on this wire. Alright, and now I'm going to solder the two together. Like so. Okay, see how I got that together? So pretty much, just got it in line so it's neater. Pretty much all it is ground, 600, and I'll show you again. Come on, zoom in. Come on, little iPhone, you can do it. There you go. So it's a 680 ohm half watt, and they're $1.49. Super simple, super cheap. All right, so now see I soldered that from the ground to the signal. Pretty much this one, this 12 volts. I'm going to put a piece of heat shrink over it just so it don't get any water or anything, whatever, in it. I just like to, live wires I like to cover up so my folder don't burn down, you know. It's a good idea. I just put a piece of heat shrink over it and close it up. Alright, see that? I just closed it off. Pinched it, closed it off, good to go. And then the other one, we're going to take some heat shrink. Once it's cooled down, slide it over it like that, over the wire. Wiring 101. And I'm going to find the end of it, clip it, and then heat shrink it together. Right. And then I'm going to get a little bit bigger heat shrink. This is just for me, you don't have to do this, but I like to do my stuff right. So, see how I got that going? Resistor is right between the two. It goes from this to this, and then it goes to that one. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to slide this big heat shrink over the whole thing. I'll find the end of it. I'm going to cut it off where I can pinch it. Actually, find the end, you heat it up before you cut it off. It'll actually pinch it off for you and melt it together like that. Now it's closed, sealed. So now I'm going to heat shrink this whole thing. Resistor, everything's in there. Oh, I forgot to test it. Oh well, anyway. Anyway, so you do that. Plug it up. I accidentally soldered it together, so I don't think you'll be able to. I'm gonna cut the tip just so I can test it and show you what I was getting. So remember, you were getting 5 volts with it soldered and everything. You're getting 2.0, so 2 volts. It's perfect. This unit will never shut off again because the daggum rollover switch. I'm gonna clean that end up a little bit though, because I cut it to show you. Alright, that's it. Alright, so now, all that done, see this one's completely out. This one's cut, so this one only, all I got is this 12 volt wire just hanging out. But that resistor's done. Let's see if it starts. As you can see, that was successful. Hope this helped. Give me a thumbs up if it helped. If not, then quit watching. I don't really care what you do with it. Like I said, all it is a pigtail that was cut off of the one of the old sensors. I just put a between the ground and the middle, the yellow 5 volt reference, I just put a 680 ohm resistor. I bought a bunch of them just because nobody knows how to do it, so I was testing it out, and I figured out that 680 ohm was the perfect voltage, and that's about it. Hope this helped. Give me a thumbs up. Any other questions, just drop in comment box or message me.